A Yale Law student drawn back to his hometown grapples with family history, Appalachian values, and the American dream. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot here with another Netflix early movie review, and this time we're talking about the new Ron Howard Netflix film, Hillbilly Elegy, which is based on a 2016 memoir, which is written by Jd Vance. I'm so excited to let you all know what I thought about this movie, and if you should check it out when it becomes available on Netflix November 24th. Before we dive into this spoiler-free review, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts. That way you can stay up to date on what's going on over here at Movie Files. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my early movie reviews, TV coverage, live streams, all the fun things we do on this very channel. It would mean the world to me if you all can give this video a thumbs up. It helps out the channel, but I also really appreciate it. And in the comments below, let me know what you all thought about the trailer and if you were excited to see this film. And once the movie comes out November 24th, and if you got the chance to see it, let's discuss it. Your positives, your negatives, the overall story, what you think about the performances, and let's have some great discussion about it in the comments section. So when I saw the trailer a couple weeks ago, I was pretty excited to see Ron Howard, Glenn Close, and Amy Adams all working together. I'm a fan of all their works, but I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, this is a story about hillbillies. I don't know if I'll be able to relate to the story, but man, was I wrong about that, and we're gonna talk about it in this review. So let's kick things off with the positives. I want to start things off with the director of this film, Ron Howard, which I think, from my perspective, I think a lot of people think that Ron Howard's this safe director. He doesn't really take a lot of bold choices. But for me personally, when I think about Ron Howard and I look at his filmography, I see a lot of great work in his filmography, right? I think that though he might not have the boldest choices in his direction style and sensibilities, I think he's a smart man when it comes to who he decides to work with, right? I think of his collaborations with Tom Hanks, Russell Crowe, and I think, I'm not calling him Phil Jackson of directors, but I think for my sports fans, for those that know Phil Jackson, I think of how Phil Jackson was able to tap into the talent of, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Kobe Bryant, as well as Shaquille O'Neal. And even though they were talented Hall of Famers, greatest players of their generations, they weren't able to get over that hump until they collaborated and were coached and managed by Phil Jackson. And I kind of look at Ron Howard in that nature, where again, we're like, he might not be the best director when it comes to the X's and O's. He might not have the boldest choices in his films, but I think he's able to pull the talent out of these amazing actors, and that trend definitely continues with this movie, with two incredible performances by Glenn Close and Amy Adams. I was in awe of the performances of two of the most important people of our main characters' lives, JD, his mother Beverly, played by Amy Adams, and his mom, played by Glenn Close. Starting with Amy Adams as Beverly, a woman who grew up in a destructive home with her mother and father, and seeing how that affected her and the way that she picked her relationships as an adult, as well as how she raises her two kids, JD and Lindsay. To me, Amy Adams' performance as Beverly is definitely Oscar-worthy. I don't see how she's not going to be able to get nominated for Best Lead Actress. And what I really loved about Amy Adams' performance as Beverly was, as a person, you saw that she loved her family, you saw she loved her kids, but she made so many bad decisions as a person, as a mother. She put herself in these terrible positions. She came with so much baggage. And I talked about it earlier, the relatability factor for me. I didn't think I was going to be able to relate to this movie, but man, the relationship between JD and his mom, Beverly, reminded me so much of my relationship with my mom. Without getting into the specifics, my mom wasn't an addict like Beverly was in this film, but my mom had her own vices, right? And what I liked about JD in the story was he loved his mom. He looked up to her and he stood by her side despite her terrible decisions that she made in this movie. But sometimes you have to distance yourself from your loved ones because they're not on the same path as you are. Relationship between Jd and Bev was the main focus of the first half of this film, and it goes to show you how JB was raised, how Amy Adams just really stole the first half of the movie from me. But it wasn't until we met the second most important character in JD's life, and that is his grandmother, played by Glenn Close. Glenn Close as Mama's story was extremely integral into the second half of this film. Seeing Mama's strength and grit to keep her family together as well as she could was something to see within this film. Her love for her family, but more particularly her love for her daughter Beverly, who continuously is making mistake after mistake, and those mistakes are affecting Mama's family and affecting her grandkids in particular. And when it comes to Glenn Close, and you get that backstory from her, right? You see that at a very young age, she gets married, she leaves everything she knows to go off with this man at a young age. In this relationship that she gets in, it's abusive, and in this abusive relationship, relationship, her two daughters are seeing how she is treated in this relationship, and it affects them as kids. And in a way, you're seeing Glenn Close trying to make up for the mistakes that she made as a parent, and now trying to do better by Lindsay and JD, her grandkids. So when it comes to, as I had mentioned, Amy Adams getting that nomination for Best Lead Actress, I think the same could be said by Glenn Close. I think that she will be nominated for Best Supporting Actress because she was phenomenal in this movie. So highlighting the main character of this movie, as well as the writer of the memoir, who's trying to make something of himself, JD. He wants to make his family proud because his mother and his grandmother unfortunately weren't able to push forward in life because they used their family drama, their baggage, as kind of a clutch, and they kind of use it as an excuse for them not to be able to succeed like JD's trying to do within this movie. We see that JD served in the Marines, he's attending Yale, and he now has the biggest opportunity in front of him, but he gets pulled back into his family drama with his mother Beverly. And going into the actual performances of JD, there are two actors playing him. There's a young version of JD and there's an adult version. I thought for the most part those two actors did a good job of kind of carrying the baton, where you see the young JD and seeing his mannerisms as an adult. I think that kind of continuity was really strong through this film. And again, JD's kind of story of coming up in this backwood kind of hillbilly lifestyle to try to do better by his life and try to do better by his family was really a good journey to see on screen. I also found Haley Bennett and Freida Pinto to be great additions to the story, and I thought that they both gave two great supporting performances in this movie. And yet again, it shows other women within JD's life shaping him to becoming the man that he is by the end of this movie. So wrapping up my positives, highlighting the actual story and the themes found within this film. I thought this film did such a great job of diving into the idea that you must stick with family no matter what. And yes, there's truth in the saying that you're going to stick to your family through all thick and thin. But sometimes I think this film did a good job of showing you that you can sometimes separate yourself from the expectations that your family holds upon you and becoming the person that you want to become, right? So there's a lot to be said within the positives of this film. The performances, the direction was really solid, and the themes. But the film does have some flaws. So with that being said, let's transition to the criticisms that I have for this movie. So with this movie being based on a memoir, at times I felt like the movie didn't really spend that much time on important moments within the story. It was almost like, as the audience member, we were only given a slice of the life of JD and really highlighting just main points, but not really dive into the aftermath of particular moments within a scene. For example, we have characters like Bev, who found herself in multiple relationships within this movie that we really didn't dive into the aftermaths of those relationships. I think of Glenn Close's character and her relationship with her husband, Lindsay's story, and I just wish that we would have spent more time on some of these supporting characters and spent more time on particular aspects of JD's life versus just kind of moving on from one moment to the next. So something also that comes to mind was, at times there were some weird editing choices for me where I felt like some scenes felt incomplete, and that kind of brings me to the runtime of this film. This movie comes in under 2 hours, which surprised me, and this might be even more surprising because I rarely say this, but I would have been okay with another 15 to 20 minutes to really kind of flesh out certain plots, to really kind of flesh out the backstory of some of our supporting characters. And then lastly, on my criticisms, now I think this was the intention to have Beverly and also the grandmother to be more impactful, to have more emotional moments within this story. But at times, I mentioned the performance by little JD and the big JD. I found like the actors did a good job at moments, especially when I think of a scene that takes place with Amy Adams and JD in the hotel room. But I found like the acting wasn't always on the same par. Now, it's obviously kind of hard to be on the same par of Glenn Close and Amy Adams, but sometimes I found the little actor and the adult version JD to not match the emotional impact of those two characters. But wrapping up my criticisms, before I give you guys my overall score and if you should check this film out on Netflix, make sure, if you haven't already, to give this video a thumbs up, share this video, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below. With that being said, let me give you guys my overall thoughts and if you should check this movie out when it becomes available on Netflix November 24th. This hard-hitting family drama about hillbillies from the rural parts of America was something that I did not think I was going to be relate to, but I was so wrong about that. Seeing our main character inherit the strengths from the most important women in his life, but also dealing with the baggages that came with the family drama was incredible to watch. There's no denying the importance of having family in your life, but it's also just as important to have your own life, your own journey, to accomplish your own goals, and your well-being is so important, and you have to put yourself first because you have to be the best version of yourself, so that way when your family needs you the most, you're there to answer that call. Amy Adams and Glenn Close were phenomenal in this movie, and even though I have some flaws with the film, I'm going to give this movie, Hillbilly Elegy, a 4.5 out of 5, and I highly recommend you guys give this film a watch. Now, that's just my thoughts. That's my review on this film. When it becomes available on Netflix November 24th, I could not recommend it enough. So there you have it, a 4.5 out of 5. Let me know what you all thought about this review. Once you've seen the movie, let's discuss your positives, your negatives. What did you think about those performances? Do you think Glenn Close and Amy Adams will get nominated when it comes to Oscar time of the year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel as well, but hit that bell so you don't miss any of my other early reviews. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you're staying safe, and we'll see you all in the next video.